Hey friends, welcome to this week's social emotional learning lesson. Today we are going to talk about one of my favorite topics, celebrating differences. Let's jump in and see what we are going to do for today. The first thing we're going to do is answer the question, what makes us different? Do you remember a couple of weeks ago, we had a survey that was all about identity and you answered questions regarding who you are. So it was the Who Am I survey. I have those results for you today, and I'm very excited to share them with you. After we do that, we are going to answer the question, what is social awareness? And you can think about that before we get to that question as well. What is social awareness? After we answer that question, we're going to talk about why we should celebrate differences. Why is that important? And then finally, I am going to start reading a chapter book to you all as just a little something extra if you are interested. We're going to be reading The One and Only Ivan. I know some of you are familiar with that. If you'd like to read it again with me, you are more than welcome to. But you can get off this video and then get to that video and listen to a few chapters a week of that with me. Okay? Let's go ahead and get started. So what makes us different? Earlier this month, some of you answered a survey called Who Am I? And here are the results of your survey. As you can see, this circle here that says girl and boy, it has two different shades of gray. That is called a pie chart. Some of you may have made them before or studied them before in math class. It's a great way to show responses to a survey like this. So as you can see, the lighter part of the graph or the pie chart is for girls, and then the darker part is boys. That means that most of you who responded were girls, but there was a good amount of boys who responded as well, which is wonderful. What do we know about what makes us different? Well, for girls and boys, there really isn't that much, right? Because we all can be smart, we all can be strong, we all can have a sense of fashion, we all can feel the same sorts of happiness and joy, and we can all be friends. So we are able to celebrate that difference together. As you can see here, let me go ahead and move my little box out of the way so that you can see this. This is a bar graph, and you have a couple of different columns with different colors. And then if you look on the left, this is the key. Okay, so this is what we're going to be looking at to figure out what these columns mean. Starting with this blue column, it looks like it goes right past the 25 line at 26. And if we go over here, Caucasian is blue, 26. So that means 26 of you who responded to the survey are Caucasian or white. Then if we go to this orange bar, and it's right above the 30, so about 31, and that is African American. So 31 of you who responded to the survey is African American. Going forward, we have green. That's Native American. There were 2 of you who responded to the survey who identify with that race. Then we have Asian American with 10 of you, Hispanic American with 2 of you, and then pink was other. So if you didn't quite fall into just one category or you didn't fall into any of the categories at all, you could have selected other, and 6 of you selected that option. So as you can see, as far as race goes, we are all very different at our school. Just the representation that we use from the survey, we can tell that there are so many different races represented at Brooks Global Studies, and that's really cool. We have so many neat things that we can share with each other from those racial experiences. I'm going to move my box back down so we can go on to the next thing. I'm very excited to show you this as well. When I asked you what are 3 things that you could say to share who you are, this is what you came up with. The bigger words are the words that were more frequently used to answer the survey. So for example, the words kind, smart, funny, nice, athletic, those bigger words, a lot of you use those words to describe yourselves, which is really neat. Some of the other highlights from this are helper. I see sports, talkative, working, selfless, tired, scared, careful, friendly, weird, interesting, and loving. Those are some of the other words that you use to describe yourselves. Here are some of the religions that you all listed that you might celebrate at home. I see Judaism, Christianity, Muslim, Vietnamese, Jewish, Baptist, and then some of you said that you weren't sure or that you didn't celebrate a religion at all. And finally, we had a question about a culture. Do you celebrate a specific culture, or are you a part of a specific culture? Here are some of your responses. We see Indian, Cherokee, American, Japanese, European, Afghan, Vietnamese, Liberian, Christian, and let's see, one more. I see Asian. So there's a lot of different cultures that we celebrate in our homes and that we can bring into our school community as well. Here's that word, social awareness. So why is it important to celebrate differences? Well, social awareness has a lot to do with that, and it helps us answer that question. Social awareness is us being aware that some people are different and then being respectful of those differences. Why should we celebrate differences? Why should we respect or even accept other people's differences? Well, here's a few reasons, and I'm sure we can think of more together as well. Differences make the world more interesting. It helps us to connect with new people. We can learn new things from other people who are different from us, and we can show respect towards everyone for their differences. We can also help our friends who are treated unkindly for being different. And I'm sure that some of you have seen that in our community and in the world. Some people are just not treated kindly if they look different or sound different or believe different things than we do. It's always important to be aware of how we feel about those differences. And then if we can't celebrate them, at least being kind about them, right? And going back to our social awareness as well, it's really important that in celebrating differences, we also feel comfortable sharing our differences. For example, when I was younger, my family really loved Italian food, and it smelled like basil in my house all the time. A friend of mine came over to visit and said, "Your house smells different." And at first I was like, well, that's kind of rude. But then I said, you know what? I can be proud of my family and I can celebrate my family. And I said, well, that's because there's basil on the stove right now in the pasta sauce. And we're really excited because it's one of our favorite Italian dinners. My friend had no idea. And they said, wow, that's really cool. Can I try some? And it was a way that we were able to bond together and celebrate our differences, even though this friend had never really used basil in their cooking before. Can you think of any examples of a time that you've been able to celebrate a difference? That is my challenge for you today. Think about our amazing differences and find a way to celebrate them. So do you have a cool freckle or a birthmark on your body somewhere that nobody else has? What about a secret talent? Is your hair color, your skin, or your eye color different from someone else's? You can celebrate that, and you can appreciate your differences in yourself, and you can appreciate differences in other people. We are going to read the one and only Ivan. So if you would like to do that with me, you can go ahead over to the other video in this assignment. And as always, if you need anything, please reach out to me. I care deeply about all of you, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye.